Good evening, YouTubers. The sun is gone down just about. Sunset's over there. It's one of those evenings where just couldn't wait for the sun to go down, you know, it was just too much. Anyway, I've been reading on the internet about a case in America, Breonna Taylor. This is a lady who was shot dead by armed police in her own home. And it's just come on the news. I've never heard of it before, but I mean, this is a case where armed police have like bashed the door in and run in to her apartment and shot her dead. And she was a healthcare worker. Whether she was, I don't know the details of the case, but I mean, I only know what I've read in the press, and it has said in the press that her boyfriend jumped up with a gun and fired at the cops, and they fired back and they hit her and killed her. I don't know what happened to the boyfriend. Maybe they killed him as well. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But this is horrendous, and this is one of the things that I do not approve of about gun control in the United States, because I mean, I'm all in favour of the right to bear arms and what have you. And if I lived in the United States, I would have very serious security on my house for a start, and I would be armed, and I'd have a loaded gun or two, or maybe more, in close reach when I was asleep. That's the most vulnerable part, the most vulnerable time, I suppose, when you can be attacked and killed, murdered by someone. Now, police usually do dawn raids because people are usually asleep and they're out of it, and they just smash the door in and come running in. And I don't believe they can do that in America. I don't think they should be allowed to do that, because if this wasn't just a knock on the door, there's the police. Who? The police? Oh, okay. Because there was no announcement. They just smashed the door in and ran in, armed to the teeth. So if that was me and I was in bed in America, someone just smashes their way into my house, I can assume they've come to kill me, without a doubt. I would be reaching for that gun and I would be doing exactly the same thing. I would be taking them out. I'd be shooting these fuckers in the face, right? A point blank, no question about it. I wouldn't be saying, what the fuck? You know, or like, oh, what's going on here? You know, they didn't announce who they were. Now, this is a big mistake for the Americans, okay? And it turned out that the cops were looking for her boyfriend, but not the boyfriend who was there, her previous boyfriend, and obviously their information was a little bit too old, so they burst in and started murdering people, which is not what a police officer should be doing. Now, needless to say, police officers have all plotted up, and they were allegedly trying to get their story straight and telling lies to the FBI and one thing or another, and it's all come on top, and all these police officers have been arrested. Now, they shouldn't have been allowed to do that in the first place. There was a very famous case in the UK where armed police burst into a place in Hastings and did a very similar thing, kicked the door in early hours of the morning, ran into the man's bedroom and shot him to death in the bed. And it turned out he wasn't even armed, but they thought he might have had a gun under the duvet. Needless to say, they all got fired. I think the chief constable got fired over it. You can't do it. I don't believe you can do it. I think, you know, you've got to have rules. A lot of cops, don't get me right, I mean, I've been a villain in my time. A lot of cops are genuine people and they're doing a really useful job, but you know, you get these arseholes out there who like the Nazis, you know, the guards at the concentration camps. I call them psychopaths who infiltrate the system. And when they were in Auschwitz and places like that, they were not just murdering people in an orderly fashion, but they were brutalising them and getting pleasure out of giving these people a kicking on the way. I mean, these are proper badass psychopaths who were hanged after the war if they could catch them. Now, you'll get them in the police force, and the police force has got to be totally aware that may be the case, that there may be people within their ranks that are going to bring the police department into disrepute, and it's people like this who just boot the fucking door in without even... What's wrong with knocking the door? Right, you can surround the house so nobody's going to get out. So you've got a suspect in a house. What's wrong with surrounding the house, banging the door and saying it's the police? And then take the situation from there, because any normal person is going to jump up with a gun, right, and think, what the fuck, who? Police, are you sure? Open up, it's the police. The police? And you're going to want to confirm that it is the police and not some gangster who's just kicking your door in and come to shoot you. And once you've established it is the police and that it's genuine, you can even call the police department and say, I've got people outside my house saying they're the police. Yes, they are the police. Oh, okay. And that's going to put a whole new twist on the situation, isn't it? And 9 times out of 10, I think, person would put the gun down and say, okay, what's the problem? I'll come to the door, I'll open the door, just take it easy, man, what's going on? I'll let you in. Boom, let them in. If they start shooting at you, that's the whole different business, isn't it? But to just boot someone's door and come running into the house, you're going to get shot at. You're asking for it, aren't you? Any normal male would open fire on intruders who've just kicked the fucking door in. They would. And I hope these officers go to prison for at least 20 years, all of them. I do, because they are clearly psychopaths. And they've burst in and they've murdered a young woman in her 20s who was doing nothing wrong. She was in her own home, asleep in bed, probably jumped up, started panicking and got gunned down by a bunch of gangsters that just burst in. Oh, we've got badges, we're not gangsters. Oh, we're that right? Well, you can go to fucking jail, you cunts, and do 20 years like the one who kneeled on the guy's neck. You don't do that. If you're a police officer, wake up, be responsible. You know, you've got to be, of course, you've got to look after yourself, you've got to protect yourself, but at the same time, you can't be booting people's doors in and just shooting people willy-nilly. That's not on. That's not the way society should evolve. You're not doing the United States of America any favours acting like that.